Yo, what's up? What's up? Welcome, welcome. All right, so I'm looking for the sell side down here. We look on the 1 hour chart real quick. Because we have sell side down here and buy side up here, and we have a huge open range gap, 250 handles. So we already have a crazy amount of handles inside the London Open into the equity open. Usually I sit still in that, but we can still find something on the seconds time frame. So I have the 1 minute chart here on the left side, the 15 seconds chart on the right corner here, and the 1 hour chart on the upper corner on the right. It just left the engineered lows in here. Gonna watch that. And once we trade below the new week opening gap here with the new day opening gap, I like to see a continuation lower. So we might see a pretty slow PA here in the first 30 minutes. If nothing is going to show itself in the seconds time frame, then we might just sit still and wait for the PM session to then trade into one of those liquidity pools. Yo, good day, good day. What's up? So I'm gonna watch the lower quadrant here from the opening range gap and see how price is going to behave in that. So from the opening range gap high to the opening range gap low, the lower quadrant, watching that. If it completely goes through that, then we might see a chance to get into the 50%. And that makes it less probability to trade into the sell side here inside the AM session. So let's see. All right, so we are trading above the lower quadrant here with the first presentation. So we need to see what the first presentation is going to show us. I mean, let's compare ES real quick. ES left the equal lows here as well. I'm watching the first presentation here, the upper half, and this smaller 15 seconds fair value gap here. If it can reach above that, to then see a possible move into the opening range gap midpoint. And there's also buy side liquidity resting. So the midpoint is coupled with a buy side liquidity pool. I like that. As long as we stay inside the first presentation upper half. For now, it's kind of 50-50. We did have news today here at 8:30. It went lower here and had this retrace pattern here. So because we are having buy side and sell side on both sides, basically on the 1 hour chart. So the buy side from yesterday with the with the London open high and the PM session high. And then we have the 1 hour sell side liquidity from down here from Monday and Tuesday. I favor this down here, especially once we trade below the new week opening gap. So it needs to show order flow. All right, so we might wait for the 950 macro in here. Both sides are resting. So sells are being open here and buys are being open here. Yo, good morning. Inverse the first presentation. Get then shorts will look good. Yeah. In the perfect world, it would go below the first presentation, use it as a premium, go into the sell side here, continue lower into the sell side down here. And then after all this is being graded, we then turn into the buy sides. That would be in the perfect world because we are still trading within the range on the daily chart. So it would make sense to trade into the sell side and then into the buy side without continuation. But so far I'm waiting. It needs to show respect on premium arrays. So far it's not doing that. Usually this on the 5 seconds would be something interesting, but because we are still trading from that 15 second CB here, I'm not interested in that. So I would rather wait for it either goes below the first presentation and use it as premium to then go into the sell side, or it waits the buy side and then shows something from between 10 and 11 a.m. into the sell side. The previous day low, let me see. Yeah, this one here on Thursday. I mean, if we look at the previous day, grade this, I like 50% of that. It's also buy side and the 50% open range gap. There's also an inversion for value gap here. This one is pretty interesting. So I like a draw into this. And then we have to see, like, if it wants to reject from that to continue lower into the sell side, or trade above that and grab the buy side liquidity. But you can see so far it's just having very slow price action in here, going back into the range very often. And that is because we did have a London open session with a large range. So I'm gonna wait for the macro on 950. Like I said, it's always reading candle by candle and putting the candles, the logic behind it together. I mean, so far it's ranging within the lower quadrant of that open range gap. So a continuation is permissible once we see these first presentation and everything as a premium array. Yeah, sitting on the hands is good. I mean, we did have a pretty nice week so far. We had a very nice scalp yesterday on the 1 second time frame. Yeah, 2 big ranges today and yesterday is correct. So we might have, for the game plan for today, it would be like sit still for now until 10 a.m. minimum. Wait to price to reach into one of those liquidity pools and then trade accordingly to that. Or you wait the entire AM session and look for a lunch hour or PM session trade, because the London Open was a big range. So AM session might be a fairly slow type of condition where you have back and forth price action, or it just not showing a lot of movement at all. And then in the PM session, you might find something again, right? All right, the only thing that would have made sense is this CB here with the breaker, but I did not take anything in here. I'm simply waiting. But like I said, I want to see it go into the sell side first and then reverse into the buy sides based on the dealing range on the daily time frame. I mean, if we look on the daily real quick, we do have sell side down here, and this might be a target. Not for today though, but the sell side here, that is something I'm looking for. So this 1 hour sell side liquidity, that's way too smooth. If it's not going to trade into that today and stays above this new week opening gap and trades into the buy side or towards the buy side, that's already enough to take longs. Then we have the sell side for next week. So I always try to find the best case scenarios. You see, this CB in here, is that an entry for me? No, it is not. Because we just rated the sales liquidity and traded into the new week opening gap. No, I wouldn't short this. Not a short. To take this as a short, it would show more order flow on the seconds time frame, but then go as a continuation pattern type of entry. But this is not a breaker or fair value gap entry. Not for me. Not right now. If it shows rejection here and continues lower within the seconds time frame, then it might be something. The best case short would be below the new week opening gap. Trade below that, use it as premium. Then the only way to trade would be lower into the sell side. Because right now it can just take the sell side, go back into the range, and trade into the buy side up here, right? So you can see this is not a short setup. It currently trades above this CB. Yes. And it's not only the new week opening gap. You see there's a small... Wait, let me put this away. There's this level in here. It randomly appears on my chart, right? But if you look on the daily time frame real quick. Do it like this. You see this high and this low from the daily time frame. You see the 8s and quadrants in here. This blue line is the perfect lower quadrant. So the 25% level. Randomly lining up with the new week opening gap, right? So there's confluence. So this is not a short setup once we see this going into the CB. So it's not only the new week opening gap and the sales liquidity, it's also the dealing range from the daily chart, the lower quadrant. All right, so I'm looking for 950 here for a possible run, but you can see how the highs are jagged and the lows are jagged. Yeah, I mean, it would have been a better short if London Open did not trade like it did. Yep. So this would have been a stop loss if you traded this as a short setup. But like I said and told you, it's not a short setup. And there are many things to that can invalidate this as a short setup. Yes, we did have the opening range gap being 120 handles or more, but reading candle by candle, there's a lot of stuff that either invalidates it or makes it stronger. All right, so I'm looking for the buy side here with the opening range gap midpoint. It might not give me the entry. If you look, that inversion fair value gap from the 5 seconds is within the 1 minute order block. All right, so it leaves the engineered highs here right before the macro. How do you mainly find the buyers on liquidity for the day? I scan the market. I scan the market every single minute, every single time I go to the charts. And I have a video about scanning. It's a concept of mine that gives me the narrative for the day or for the week. And it's really precise and gives you a lot of confidence. So check out on YouTube the video about scanning. Yeah, the midnight. Let me see where it is. I mean, it's up here, yeah. So we do have the buy sides. It's another confluence. Wait, let me grab the link real quick. Wait, we do have the 1 minute. You see here, I'm looking at the 5 seconds here for a possible draw or entry. All right, I shared it in the chat. That video is about scanning. All right, see how this inversion fair value gap lines up with the 1 minute order block here. 5 minute. This PC. I'm looking on the candles here. Yeah, so this one would have been the entry here. I mean, it's fine with running without me. It would have been 30, 35 handles. But you can see how I lined up the inversion fair value gap with a 1 minute order block here. So let's see if it wants to reach into that. You're welcome. All right, so the buy side here is engineered. If you missed this one here, I wouldn't consider this as a continuation. I just wait here. Reading the candles here, one by one. I'm watching the 1 minute order block, the mean threshold here, as my last discount array. If the midpoint of that is not going to hold price, then I'm sitting still. I'm waiting for between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. Still, ideally, trade lower into the sell side down here and then grab the buy side. I would love that. So let's sit still here and see how 10 a.m. is going to behave. mean, we are still trading at that first presentation high. And you can see how we invalidate the setups here. For example, the short here with the sell-side liquidity and the new week opening gap. The long here, you could have taken this one here. Or on the 5 seconds it was, I think, or somewhere here. But it would have also be break even or something. And we simply wait here for timing. Like I said, it's lower probability. Why? Because we do have a large range on inside the London Open. And we do have both sides being open. And the sell side is now cleared here, but we do have the sell side, the higher probability sell side from the 1 hour chart. Yeah, like I said in the beginning, it might be a choppy AM session and you want to come back in the lunch hour or in the PM session to get the better price action and cleaner movement into one of those liquidities. But you can kind of know that before the session starts, right? So I already expected this kind of back and forth price action. I'm not sure if I want to stream later, but if the AM session is going to be a mess until 10:30, then I'm gonna watch for the last hour macros. I might stream it. Let's see. If I see something that is too obvious, then I'm gonna stream that. Otherwise, I'm only going to do that inside the VIP room. But if there's something like a guaranteed setup, I might stream that, yeah. The last hour macro. Do you have a way to predict that pre-market will expand, or will you always just let it play out? Yeah, mostly I'm gonna let it play out and then trade accordingly inside the AM session and PM session. I barely trade the London Open. I do trade sometimes the Asia session, but then I use the PM session as a narrative, right? So if the PM session is going to leave buy sides or sell sides, I'm going to look for a Asia session trade inside the macros to reach into those. But mostly I use the London Open only as information for the AM session and PM session. I mean, if you trade on the 5-minute or 15-minute, you can see there are a lot of good setups here on the London Open session. I think we might have something as a SMT up here. You can see the 8 from the daily chart, from the daily dealing range I showed you earlier. And you can see how the highs are making higher highs. And then there's a market structure shift. And on the 5-minute, maybe there's something. Yeah, you have a breaker. You have here, we have a SIBI, trades lower. We have another SIBI here. But I barely trade the London Open. The daily chart, I think without. It depends. Right now I have without. If I do the settlements, you can see the volume balance here. If I undo the settlement, there's no volume balance. But it kind of is irrelevant, to be honest, because we have buy sides and I'm marking out the market mostly on liquidity pools. And you can see this new week opening gap here, or the volume balance. And I think if I settle it, oh yeah, there still is one. But I think this one up here, it changes. Yeah, you have a small volume balance here, and now you don't. So it really depends. You want to do both and look for what kind of volume balances do we have above price and below price. And if they might be something important for the session. But mostly I don't have that toggled on. So yeah, like you can see, AM session is not going to trade well, like we expected. All right, so 10 a.m. coming in here. There's no news, I think, but based on the macro, just macro. Yeah, we don't have any more news. All right, so let's see. I kind of want to try this short here. 30-handed stop loss. But we're still within this range here. Just based on time, but I'm not doing it. I want to see more order flow. Yeah, so it completely validates it directly. So it's better to wait and sit on the hands in this kind of pre-A. We're not in a rush to get something here. And it's still trading inside the upper half of the first presentation. And the high CRJ are smooth, these ones. They don't look at them. So this busy here becomes a reclaimed busy. You did not have any trades that yet. That's good. There's still a opportunity inside the lunch hour or PM session. All right, so the buy side here is cleared and the opening range gap midpoint. So you can see it did trade into the sell side here. This was not a short setup. Now it did trade into the buy side. Both sides are rated. So I would definitely wait for the lunch hour and PM session. I don't have any more interest in this right now. We still have the buy side up here inside the upper quadrant of that opening range gap. And we still have the sell side liquidity down here from the 1 hour chart from Monday and Tuesday. But I don't think I'm going to engage in this AM session here. It really seems low probability. One quick look on the 5-minute here. We do have the SIBI here with the order block. So continuation lower would be something I would like to see. And this inversion fair value gap, like I said earlier. The midpoint from the opening range gap, inversion fair value gap, buy side, SIBI, order block. So many things aligning in here. So it would really need to show a move below the first presentation. Otherwise, it's not going to look well for shorts. And you might just sit on the hands and wait. And I think I will do that. I will close the stream. We did see the one on the sell side and then into the buy side with the opening range gap in point. And we kind of expected low probability conditions before that. I mean, CSD, if you mean the change of state of delivery or the market structure shift, it should show a move below the first presentation, at least below the midpoint of that, to now continue into lower sell side liquidity pools. Otherwise, there's no interest for me, only because we did have a large range on inside the London Open and expected this kind of behavior here in the AM session. It could still trade around here and range around that midpoint of the opening range gap, or trade into higher targets here, like the buy side up here, and then from there we roll over into the sell side. But it really depends on the timing. So 11:30 for the lunch hour, and then 1:30 for the PM session. And if it wants to reach even higher and grab all the buy side it left from yesterday, this buy side up here with the new week opening gap is what I'm looking at. And if it moves there now without me, that's fine. We still have an opportunity in the PM session. So I'm not in a hurry. I'm simply waiting for highest probability conditions, and that is why my win rate is pretty high and the strike rate is pretty high. And I'm looking for these kind of quick movements, and I know kind of when those might form and when the price action might be slow. So yeah, for the PM session and lunch hour, watch out for the buy side up here and the buy side up here, and also for the sell side down here. There might be something on both sides or on one side, depends on where we are in price and on time. If I find something very, very high probability and almost a guarantee setup, then I'm going to show that inside the YouTube live stream, and we'll be back here. Otherwise, I'm going to tape read it inside the Discord in the VIP group. So I hope you like the kind of tape reading here and looking for how it's behaving in a low probability condition, and looking at this CB not as a short setup. It was just a value gap to reach into the sell side here with the new week opening gap and the dealing range lower quadrant from the daily chart, and then just kind of ranged. So like I always say, looking out for low probability conditions and knowing when something might not look good as a like in terms of movement, then you simply want to sit out and wait for better conditions. Always based on time first, and then whenever you have PD arrays around that, try to get narrative around that. Yes, you learn by waiting and trying to read candle by candle in those conditions, and not try to get any like everything like up and down. That's just gonna kill your confidence and kill your account. A lot of like high frequency trading is very, very good when you have a high probability draw on liquidity. If you have something like a one-sided move, a one-sided market, that is where you can just add position and scalp like it's like you're going crazy. But if you have low probability conditions, you simply wait and don't overtrade, or yeah, you kind of expect this kind of price action, and we did. Yo, Jason, what's up? Yo, what's up? We are going off now, so I did a tape read on this lower probability conditions and why this CP was not a short setup. I explained it. So if you missed that, then you can always watch it afterwards. So yeah, that's it for me. Like I said, watch out for the buy side here, and the sell side from the 1 hour chart. I will be in the VIP group in the lunch hour and PM session. And if there is something very, very high probability, I will go live in the PM session last hour macro. Otherwise, I wish you a great weekend and I will be back next week.